Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Voices, Uncommon Visions. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Nyberg, and I have my wonderful youngest son, Jacob Nyberg, on for another part of our conversation about identity and race. Welcome, Jacob. We actually just watched separately a documentary on HBOMax called 1000% Me. It's about mixed kids. And since we actually started this conversation about race and identity last November, I thought we would jump in and continue the conversation with adding that documentary into the mix. So I wanted to start with Jacob and ask you what you thought about watching a bunch of young kids in the Bay Area, which is out here where I am now. What did you think about watching them talk about themselves and what they thought about race and who they are and how they show up and that kind of stuff?
So this guy Giorgio, he's like one of the first people in the documentary, not the first, but like probably second or third family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he was talking about how he grew up with few black classmates in his elementary school,
Mm-hmm.
and when he got to middle school, um, he saw more, right? And he was trying to be like, oh, okay, like this is, he was able to connect with them somewhat, but he was looked at differently because he was, quote, not black enough for the black kids, and I can kind of relate with that.
Okay, say more. In what way
Oh,
are
gosh.
why did that speak to you?
Because I feel like I mean, yeah, I feel like people like black people look at me in the same way, I guess.
Okay.
And definitely have in the past as well.
Well,
Uh,
I can say that I relate to that because the way I speak, even though I
mm,
am not mixed myself, the
mm,
way I speak, the way I carry myself, the words
mm,
that I use,
mm,
everyone or most Black people will don't consider me Black enough. Even the
mm.
music that I listen to, because um,
Yeah, that's something that needs work. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah,
I'm just
your
kidding.
music is trap music, and we don't even want to get into that.
Uh,
No,
I like some of the classics. I like some of the classics, most definitely.
I don't even want to say what you listen to because it requires
I don't think
profanity.
you even know what I listen to. Oh, well, I mean,
Well,
yeah, definitely profanity.
no,
What music doesn't
the
have?
words that I use to describe the music that you listen to, which is the whole reason why I don't listen to rap music, a lot of rap music. I call it bitches and hoes music. That's what you listen to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that is what you call it.
Right. So I'm like, I don't want to
That's
use
funny.
that language, but that's what you
Mm,
like. It is music that really talks poorly about women and
yes,
objectifies women and talks about people in very derogatory ways, and I don't like any of that stuff.
promotes drug use, stuff like that. Yeah,
Right, like it like that's the only thing that we can do.
yeah, true, true.
And I've
All right,
never,
but
but even
I
when
don't
I
know.
was
I
your
don't know.
age, I didn't subscribe to those kinds of things, and that was when that kind of music started to really become popular, and that was when I went to alternative music. So that was why a lot of people really considered me as not Black, because I didn't want to be associated with those things. So why do people consider you not Black? Is it just your skin color, or
Uh, a lot of mostly I'd say it's like how I talk, how I don't know. Like definitely like at work, like oh my gosh, like some customers deserve to be treated worse, but like I'm always like trying to maintain a smile and be as nice as I can be. And I don't know. I feel like I would say definitely first of all, like I'd imagine how I talk is part of it. Definitely. But I can't say 100% for sure. All I know is that like people.
so okay, let's go back in time. Let's
Okay,
go back
yes.
to 8, 9, 10. Do you
Okay.
remember back to that time?
Somewhat.
Okay, did people like did your race and I remember you had an
Well,
eclectic group of friends, which I thought
yeah,
was beautiful.
8, 9, 10. That was like back in elementary school.
Hmm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even then, but like I didn't like, there was like, there was Kevin in fifth and sixth grade and Maddie and Elola as well. But as far as black people went, that was it at my elementary school. So um, even me being like, you know, being fairly light skinned, I was kind of like the black person in my class. Um, like, you know,
You
if
were
we
the
ever like
black
mentioned,
representative in your class?
yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, if we ever like talked about race or something, I don't know.
Were you ever asked to speak for all black people in your classes?
Definitely not.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Perhaps, I don't think so.
Do you remember studying slavery?
I don't know. I don't remember studying anything except for math in elementary, to be honest. Yeah, no, no, no. But I mean I mean the topic would definitely be discussed around that
So I do want to bring you back to an
time. Oh my
incident that
gosh.
happened in sixth grade. And I don't want to
Yes,
mention
okay.
names, but do you remember that there was an incident in your classroom? There was one other black kid in your classroom who recently came in, um,
Hmm.
was adopted or foster care. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly,
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
there was some behavioral concerns. And the teacher wanted to have a discussion about how the class should
Oh
respond.
my God. Yes, yes. No, I mean there weren't behavioral concerns. It was before he even got there.
Mm.
They were like, oh, he might look different, he might act different, but we have to make sure that we treat him the same. It was awful. I remember being very upset by that.
What
And
upset you?
telling you and you telling me I should write about it and me not knowing what to write. Um, well, what upset me about it was like they're setting him up to fail. Being like, oh yes, this person is different. But despite like, and to kids, different is only okay if you've been conditioned to accept it, I guess, right? Because like even like infants, if uh they haven't seen much they'll react negatively to um
Mhm.
images of non people that aren't their race.
Right.
So by doing that before he got there, it's like he shouldn't be thought of as different. He's just a he's just a kid. Like we shouldn't be like watching out for anything he might do. Like just be nice to him. I don't know.
What so no, what I hear you saying is part of what you felt was going on was rather than him having a blank slate, he didn't get to start fresh. He got tainted before he even got there.
Yes, exact. Yeah, yeah. That's really good. And it's really contrast that with the next year, the following year when we had the first first Latin American people that like before that point, before Alex and I think his name's Emilio
Mhm.
joined our class. Like I don't think there were any Latin American representation in the entire grade.
Well,
And
there were, but they might not have
oh
been.
yeah, there was Bernardo. There was Bernardo, of course.
You
How
might
could I
not want
forget?
to use the actual people's names.
Oh, sorry. There was one. There was one.
But I mean, there were people, but they weren't necessarily born in those other countries.
Hmm.
Correct.
Hmm. Definitely.
Right. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Say more about that.
Well, I mean, they were just kind of there one day. Um, and after it was seen that maybe they weren't socializing as much as they could be, You know, at that point, my teacher, my sixth grade teacher, approached me and asked if I was, you know, if I'd be willing to try and befriend them. And so, I mean, and I think I did. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I mean, I spoke to Alex now and then throughout, you know, elementary, middle, and high school.
Do you think she asked you because you were a student of color?
Yeah, 100%.
Why? You don't think she
Well,
asked any
I
white
think
kids?
it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible. But you know, me being someone who's you know, kind of more talkative than the average person. You know, someone who smiles a lot, I guess. Like, you know, someone who can appear rather friendly, and then also someone who would have some understanding of being a sort of misfit in this. I did air quotes under the table. Be a sort of misfit in this, you know, predominantly white school.
You were not a misfit at that
Yeah,
predominantly.
I understand. Well, I mean, to, you know, kind of stand out a little bit, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I don't know.
You mean you weren't a white kid?
Yes,
That's
exactly,
the only thing.
exactly,
You,
exactly.
you
Yeah,
were,
yeah.
that
So,
was
you
it.
know,
You were a
you
high
know, in
performing,
this,
high achieving.
yeah,
The adults loved you. The kids
yeah.
liked
But
you.
in a sea of white people, you know, I was perhaps to him at the very least, you know, uh, you know, I guess wasn't, you know, it wasn't, I was obviously not 100% white, you know.
Right, right. So one of the things I liked about the documentary 100, well, 1000% me, is a lot of the mixed kids also have friends who are mixed.
Mm.
One of the things I really liked about you is you had you had a very mixed group of kids that you formed in elementary school and into middle school. And I don't know what happened in high school. I don't think I want to know. But one of my, as a parent, I really wanted to make sure that the door was open for you to have Black friends. I recognize, like, my mother was, okay, hold on. Before you shake your head, no. My mother was very, like, my mother, she talked about having an open door, but then all the kids in our neighborhood were like no's. You know, like, I couldn't go out and play with them. And, you know, she would take me to the window and say, yeah, those kids back there. Like, she actively discouraged me and actively put the kids down in our neighborhood. So I tried to be very much, you know, I remember telling you guys, you're going to row the same boat. So I don't understand why you're like those kids, because I'm like, those are Black kids, and those Black kids are going to be put in the same boat with you. So you need to figure out how to row the boat together. And I understand that you're not necessarily going to, like, there is this class divide, or there is a divide there, and I haven't given you the skills or taught you the skills to figure that out, because I don't have those skills either. But somehow you have to figure it out, because you're going to be in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
You started with shaking your head. Give me your thoughts.
I mean, you know, obviously very good that you made the attempt in the first place. Yeah, the difficult thing is that you know, you tried to tried to raise us with a as I mean, I would refer to it as like, yes, you know, we
I
were
replicated
encouraged
myself.
to
No,
play.
I replicated myself. I mean, I know that I
Well,
replicated myself.
yeah, no, but you encourage us to like I don't know. We had a very, I don't really want to say this. Actually, no, we had a very culturally white upbringing. Like you had us play orchestra, play band, do Boy Scouts. Like that, those are all things that, you know, ah man,
There weren't other Black kids
I
doing.
don't. Yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly.
Just say
I,
it.
I was trying to think of one. I was like, I don't think I saw one in any of those.
No, there were, but there weren't many.
In Boy Scouts? I don't know. I don't know.
No,
I mean, like, yeah, we had a it was a I don't know.
I remember
It's
when they
really white
suggested
community.
doing the scuba diving merit badge. I about freaked out, and I was like, "Who's gonna do that?" And they're like, "We have people who are doing that." And I'm like, "You're gonna go to the Bahamas to do a what?" Yeah, no, they
That's
like
crazy.
they did like their one family. Yes, they had every other year they did the boy they yep. And I was just like, that is so exclusionary.
True. No, that makes sense.
And they're like, your kids can sell popcorn. And I'm like, you are smoking crack. Enough, there's not enough popcorn in the world for them to go to, the Caribbean to go do
Yeah.
some
Hmm.
some scuba diving merit badge. It's
Yeah, that's crazy.
not gonna happen.
Yeah, but okay, back to the point though. I think the problem was that you gave us a very, you know, I guess a
Eurocentric.
more yes, a more Eurocentric cultural upbringing, and I think that's more where that's more what led me to have more difficulties connecting with other Black people in the way that I guess I could have otherwise, I guess.
Yeah, my point was, this is where, as an educator, I get really passionate and frustrated because you all had access to things, because I made sure you had access, and that way you could go anywhere because you had access. Y'all went to summer camp, and you did Boy Scouts and orchestra, and you did all of those things, and basically if you said, "Mom, I'm interested in it," you ended up in it. um and sometimes it made my life a little bit more difficult and trying to fit all those pieces together. But I do you know how you even got into Boy Scouts?
I mean, I imagine my brothers did it, and then I wanted to do
Isaiah.
it because of that.
Isaiah, it
Did
was
he
Isaiah.
ask?
Yes, he wanted to do, like, it was ice cream social. They had a booth, and
Ah,
he was gaga over it. And Anna was like, "Are you kidding me?" And he was like,
oh,
"But
makes sense.
mom," blah, 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 blah. And I was like, "No, no, 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 no." And he was like, blah, 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 blah. And so that's how we ended up. Like, a lot of these things, Boy Scouts, even soccer, I was very much anti any of those things because they were not familiar to me. Boy Scouts meant that I had to send you away with men I did not know. That was not something that was in my comfort zone. So if you remember when you guys were really little, I was at every single meeting, every single time. And it wasn't until pretty much until you got to be an age where I could drop you off. You got to be in 5th and 6th grade. And that's when I started to, like, okay, well, I can stop hovering, like, be there every moment of the day. Because nothing bad had happened that I could see. And I would ask you, and I would interrogate every time I picked up and dropped off at the different, campouts and stuff. I would ask strategic questions for things and look for certain signs, because those were high risk endeavors in my mind, and fraught with a lot of those
You okay?
yeah, no, those opened a door.
Yeah.
Those are experiences that opened a door to put you guys at risk for things that I didn't want to have happen to you. So it was really hard for me to do that. But when your child advocates for themselves, you have to listen, and you have to do what they're asking for, because that's what they want. That's what they need. So you guys found yourselves in those places because you advocated for those. And then, like, art school, and Nathaniel was so incredibly artistic that I wanted to nurture that in any way possible. And his demand was the individual class, which I couldn't afford. So anything else that I could do that would nurture that, I would do through the university. And he went to entrepreneurial camp. And they were exclusionary in their process. So when we got involved, the way they used to do that is they used to drop the announcement and the link for the application in early February. So you had to know that they were doing it, and B, you had to you had to know they were doing it. And that summer camp filled up within a week, less than. And I was just like, so you want larger people applying, but you do it on first come, first serve. How does that? You can't
I
have
mean, I feel like that's the most fair way to do it, right?
No, it's not the fair way to do it, because who gets to do first come, first serve? The moms who are at home, who know that link is dropping
true.
and can have
Okay.
the time to fill it out. No, if I'm working for
Yes, I understand. If you're working, you can't fill it out, but when would that not be the case?
stay at
Like
home moms,
how could they do it differently? How could they not? How could they do it differently?
they can have an
Open it in
application
the
period.
fall?
They can have an application period just like most other things. So they're taking
Didn't they have an application period?
No, they didn't. They had 30 applications, and it came first come, first serve, period.
Okay, so you'd rather them take 30 applications and then, make biased judgments to decide who they want? Like,
No, I'd rather them have an application period. So they take, for the month of February, they take applications over the month of February, and then they pick from that pool of applicants. So if you were to talk about identity, like, what is your identity? How do you describe your identity?
how do I describe my identity? I mean, I say I'm mixed.
And when you say people ask for clarity, what do you tell them?
I say I'm Black, Native, and white.
So you still don't go into a lot of detail.
I mean, I can if they want, but I break down like, my grandmother's Inuit. My grandfather's Swedish. My mom's like,
Inuit. She's not
some
Inuit.
stuff.
She is not Inuit.
She's not Inuit?
She's not
Wait, what
Inuit.
is she?
She's Eskimo.
Yes, I understand, but the tribe. What's the tribe?
Inupiaq.
Inupiaq?
Yes.
What? What? What?
Inupiaq is not Inuit. It's
Yes, I
totally
understand. Of course not. Then why Inupiaq? What? What? Uh, Inupiaq.
Inupiaq, which has like three different spellings, by the way.
No, I'm serious. I'm kind of upset. Like I'm kind of blaming you a little bit here. I don't know. How do I get that wrong? How do I get that wrong? How do I get that wrong?
That's on you, dude. It's not on me. I've never said Inuit, so that is
I don't
totally
know.
on
Well, I
you.
mean, you're the one who I've always asked, and
And I've never said
so
Inuit. I've
where did I
always
get
said
the information
Inupiaq.
from then? Where did I get that from
You made it up in your own head.
then? Oh my. Oh my.
Completely on
Dude.
you, not
Yeah,
on me.
no, definitely.
Never, I've never gotten. In fact, I had a argument, light argument, with a Native American woman at the University of Iowa, who, when I said that my kids were Eskimo, she said, "You shouldn't say such derogatory words," and da 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 da, and dressed me up and down. And I told her she was a Native American from the lower 48, and don't tell me what happens in Alaska, because she doesn't know. And that there are Inupiaq, or there are Eskimo, Inuit, and Native American tribes, and none of those people want to be called the other thing. That my ex-husband is Eskimo. He is not Inuit, and don't get it twisted. He's Eskimo. He's from the Inupiaq tribe. I know this for a fact. I've done my homework. Step off.
cool. I yeah, I never really answered your question
Okay.
about identity, like
Yeah.
how I identify.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I would say my identity is definitely mixed. I relate with not being enough of any culture to be considered a full member of that. Actually, well, I guess I don't know. I can understand having I can relate to having problems fitting in with different cultures due to being mixed, and I can relate to what another kid thought that, or I guess the first guy wasn't a kid, but that because they're mixed, and because they're being told they're different all the time, they kind of hold themselves like in this separate box where like where I'm not one and I'm not one or the other, like I'm not either of those. Like I'm something separate. And so yeah, that's kind of how I identify. But um
You said
uh
it gives you more options.
yeah, I mean it does, right? I would say it does, right? I think I can relate to experiences of that you know perhaps other minorities have experienced, like other Black people have experienced. I really wanna go to Alaska and learn more about grandma's extended family, but that's less important. But yeah, I definitely am able to get along and relate to white people as well, and I'm able to feel like comfortable in multiracial, or even like single race groups, like the one I was in when I was young.
So I guess that's an important question. Have you ever been in an all black environment?
No. Environment.
Yeah, like in a room of
Yeah.
all
Oh
black
my
kids.
gosh. Yeah.
You have?
Yeah. I mean, not like a consistent group, no. But
But you've been in a room of all black kids
yeah,
or all black people
and had a good time.
and had a good time.
Yeah.
Good. That
Yeah,
makes
I mean, and actually, yeah, actually on multiple different occasions. Yeah. Yeah,
that feel good.
yeah, no, of course.
No, because when I was
Uh,
your age, I had not had that. No, I hadn't had that. Well, no, I had that in a high school program in the summertime, but I hadn't had a really comfortable experience. That wasn't a
yeah,
problem.
no, yeah, I definitely have, uh, definitely.
That makes me feel good.
Mhm.
Are you comfortable in your own skin?
I mean, yeah. Um,
Do you feel like you I often feel the pressure of expectation when I go places and being and having
only when you go
to
places.
what?
Said only when you go places. Uh, so
Uh,
tag the intro to the video. Where you're like, "Ah, welcome to Uncommon Voices." Yeah.
um,
Sorry.
so, I often feel that, the expectation of performance, how people expect me to show up. And
Mhm.
so, are you comfortable in your own skin? Are you comfortable with who Jacob is and how Jacob shows up?
Yes. I mean, yeah, I'd say, I mean, I'm comfortable with my ability to recognize and adapt based on, um, based on situational needs, I guess.
Mhm.
Uh,
Your
you know,
chameleon orientation.
yes, exactly. And but in a sense, that kind of like sometimes it makes me uncomfortable though, because like don't I go out of my way to kind of like ensure, since I'm a male, and I'm not white, and I understand that that there's this negative perception around me, I guess. So there's some discomfort in that, like I try to curtail my behavior to be as unintimidating as it can be,
I don't know how you can be intimidating, but okay.
I don't know. I don't want I don't
Has
want
anyone actually ever said that you were intimidating?
I
Or
mean,
is that just something you've heard that black men can be intimidating?
I feel like definitely I've been misinterpreted, and I feel like I've done something or said something that other people, like uh someone that's white has done or said, right? And that's been perceived differently, and I think therefore I've maybe attributed it to race.
Hmm.
um
Okay.
and I think for that reason, I try to, I don't know, like I just try to appear as friendly as I can, I guess.
That's a shame.
I mean, that's the world we live in. uh,
Hmm. That's a shame. So, does I was gonna say, do you ever think about your dad being mixed?
no.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's not.
But because he is,
Yeah, no, he 100% is.
right?
To be fair, he doesn't even look like very, like, I don't know. I guess he does. I guess he does. I guess no. I mean, he looks pretty. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. Um, but the answer is no. I haven't really. I mean, I feel like people would look at him and, mm, I guess he has been thought of to be Latin American a lot, right?
Mexican,
Yeah, yeah.
not Latin
No.
American, Mexican,
Okay, just Mexican.
just Mexican. A really, really
Okay.
tall Mexican.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have not given it thought at all.
Yeah, yeah. Your dad's mixed.
Yeah, no, he definitely is.
Yeah. Your
I
dad's
wonder.
mixed and he's first generation.
Yeah, yeah, no. Wow. Wow. So
So you're
am I
second
technically a
generational.
second generation college student or a second generation immigrant? Am I second generation?
Yeah,
Oh my God. That's hilarious. That is so funny. Oh my God.
you're a second generation immigrant on your dad's side.
Okay. 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 On my dad's side. Okay, but I think you inherit whichever is like the greater number.
I think it counts.
Uh
I think
I really don't think it counts. I really don't think it counts. Like
it counts.
I, I don't know, man.
It
I
counts.
I don't see myself as a member of any other nation. So like I don't think it counts. I think I'm just
Your
American.
grandfather has a green card.
Yes.
He has a green card.
True, true.
Has one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
His
Second
birth
gens, I get
certificate is from another
that.
country.
Okay, but if I go around, I'm like, yeah, I'm a second gen immigrant, and they're like, oh, really? Like, where's your family from? I'm like, oh yeah, my grandpa's from Sweden. It's
No,
like,
he's
oh,
from
really? Like,
no, he's from he's
wait, what? Is
he's
he not
not
from Sweden? Where's he from? What? Dude, have you just been lying to me my whole life about my heritage?
stop. They he is Swedish, but they immigrated from oh my gosh, now you made me forget. They immigrated Gosh, it was the country next door they immigrated from. Um,
Norway, Finland?
Finland.
Mm,
They're
okay,
from a Swedish town in Finland.
okay.
Oh my gosh, you almost made me completely forget. And I've
I'm a
always
Swedish
been
gentleman
consistent
from.
with that story too.
I had no idea.
I've told you all of your life.
Oh well.
You remember the Cassie and the loon story? Oh my god.
No.
My favorite Eskimo stories to read to you when you were little.
Uh, uh.
It's an Eskimo.
Hey, okay.
Any last parting words about um identity, race, what it means to be mixed in America in 2023?
I think solving race issues is next to impossible in my head. And it really sucks. It's something that's really important to me. Racial disparities and just issues surrounding regarding race. It's really important to me, but it's really a really complex and difficult problem. It sucks to not have a solution, but I feel like stuff like this podcast um, are perhaps the best we can do right now is have these conversations,
Mhm.
have discussions, reflect, think, and hopefully one day, actually for I'm sure one day we will continue to reach better and better solutions as we have been doing throughout time.
I think that's hopeful. I do think that there are solutions. I think no. I do think there
Really optimistic.
well no, I do think there I think every generation gets closer. I look at you and your brothers and the fact that I mean, I'm not kidding when I say it warms my heart to hear that you've been in situations where you've been in all black environments and have been comfortable and had a good time. I didn't have that experience until I was in my 30s. So, having replicated myself in you guys in a way that I provided you access to events and things, and you still have been able to find commonality and find community with other Black people. That makes me feel good. I do think that our culture, our society, we're grappling with a lot of things that have come home to roost in the last 5 years. But we're at least grappling with them. People are finding voice and have a language and terminology for things that we didn't have language and terminology for 20 years ago. So that makes me feel good. It makes me feel good that we can talk about mixed kids now in a way that we didn't talk about mixed kids now. I felt guilty for many years after I got married to your father and had mixed kids because I didn't have all Black kids. And I worried about whether or not you guys would feel some kind of way, um, because other Black kids might say, well, your mom was just trying to have light babies. Because my mom was saying, that was her worry or concern was I was just trying to have light babies. And I wasn't.
I think,
But
I mean, I mean, it's not I don't know. I don't think it's a time period where teenagers would be saying that.
right, but that was what I was growing up with.
Definitely,
So that
definitely.
was a concern. I remember running into um we were at the mall in Seattle, like this right off the freeway. I can't remember which mall it is, what it's called, but I remember running into a Black couple. um it was me and your dad, and then we ran into this Black couple, and I was thinking, they think I married this guy so that we don't have our babies are lighter. and and I felt some kind of way about that. um and that wasn't the reason why I married him at all, but like having to deal with that. And I think as you and your brothers have children of your own, I'm hoping you don't have to have that shame and guilt feeling. What?
I don't know. It's like, that I definitely won't. Uh,
Yeah, that you don't have to
honestly,
have
yeah,
a
honestly, yeah. Nathaniel and I want to, you know, round out the world. Yeah,
right.
that's the move. That's the play. That's the play.
Right. So like those things. So like when I think about that and that you guys having that conversation, the dynamics are changing and the values are changing and the belief structures are changing. So that does give me hope for what will come next. Um and yeah, I think every generation gets a little bit better, and at least we can have these conversations, because this wasn't a conversation I would have ever had with my mom. Like my mom's way of having a conversation is, I knew you would bring me home funny looking grandchildren. And then that was the beginning and the end of the conversation.
I think she was just trying to call you ugly. Get
Thanks.
it? Sorry. That
I,
wasn't funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That
no,
wasn't
I
funny
know
at
you
all.
were no, but no, I mean that was her. Yeah, that was her thing. So,
Mm.
and I mean that was her acknowledgement that I was not going to marry a Black person. And that was how she dealt with it.
Isn't that kind of her fault too?
It is, and
She's like
it
gonna
is.
say she's gonna forbid you to socialize with black people, and then blame you when
Right. It was very
you
complicated.
don't date a black person. Like what?
Right. It was very complicated and confusing. So, um,
See, but that's kind of what you were getting at earlier, where like, you know, regardless of your upbringing, you still row the same boat, right? Where like, because she wants you to get with a black person because, you know, uh, she relates to that, I guess, notion that with more, I guess, back then at least with you know, black families, that was like, oh no, you like, you know, you have to marry another black person, right? um but despite having that part of, you know, cultural ideology or whatever, right? But besides, like, despite having that idea, she's still like disapproving of you hanging out with the other black people in your neighborhood.
mhm. They
So
weren't our
kind of,
kind.
is that what she said?
Hmm. Very much
I'm gonna
so.
say that. I'm gonna say that to my kids.
No, you're
Like
not. No, you're not.
they are not Swedish, Eskimo, and black. So you can't hang out with them. Sorry, man. Just keep them inside all day. Actually,
No, that was my mom trying to protect me against, the ravaging effects of poverty and systemic racism. We didn't call it that then, but that's what she was doing.
I mean,
And
that's still push like that still supports racism.
uh,
Like,
yes, but yes, it's called internalized racism. But again,
yes.
we didn't have a language for it then.
Yes, yes.
And I always grew up with this discomfort of having to straddle these things that I didn't have names for, and didn't understand. Like, we're getting off the topic again, but my mom, I remember my mother encouraging me when I became a teenager to to get bleaching cream and to bleach my skin, and I was like,
Hey,
wait,
Michael Jackson did it.
black is beautiful, but she's just like, you're just lightening it. No, 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 no. But
It worked
that
on
was
me.
that was a thing that she encouraged, and I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, that is really interesting.
Hmm. Hmm. So yeah. But I
Very
again thank you very much for having the conversation with me and being open about, the complexity of what it has been to grow up as a um multi-ethnic kid in a predominantly white state of Iowa, um in a very affluent area of Iowa City on top of that. So I appreciate your time, and best of luck on your research job that starts tomorrow. I know you'll
Yes,
do
thank you.
great.
I hope
This
so.
this has been another episode of Uncommon Voices, Uncommon Visions. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Nyberg, and I've had the pleasure of having a conversation with my son, Jacob Nyberg, about race and identity. Thank you very much for joining our conversation. You can like, comment, or share this episode. Thank you
Make
again.
sure to subscribe.
Yes, and make sure to subscribe. Thank you again for joining us for this conversation. Thank you so much. Bye.